Welcome back to the All Out NRL Fantasy Podcast. Round 7 is here, and there is never a dull moment in the NRL. Lachlan Galvin, the big news that is broken today, Dor, that he will be dropped from the West Tigers lineup, or he has been dropped from the West Tigers lineup for this week. As we can see here in the team list, mate, obviously has probably put down a $1 million a year contract with the Tigers. That's how much they rated him, which is massive news for him. And he has been dropped to the New South Wales Cup, mate. Can you believe it?
Oh, look, it's been a thrilling 24 hours in NRL Cord. Pleasure to be here as always. Yes, no, look, am I surprised with what's happened with the news? No, not really.
Yeah.
It's really turned south between Galvin and his management and the Tigers. And look, yeah, it's really spiraling out of control. Do I think that Lachlan Galvin will be at the Tigers for much longer? I really don't think so.
Yeah, I think he's up for that early release.
Yeah, if I was the Tigers, I'd definitely be trying to cash in. I reckon they could get a really good player close to, potentially nearly even an Origin type player for Lachlan Galvin. I know that there'd be clubs out there that are keen for his services for an elite 6, even though he's only 19 years old. He's been really exceptional.
Yeah, he's been scouted as guns.
So yeah, look, to knock back 5 years, $5 million, like you said, and then it would have been plus the add-ons because they were actually with that 5-year, $5 million contract. He was going to get a bonus for this year as well as next year as well. So it was probably like close to $6 million in total if you added on the boost to his contract, current contract. So
yeah, obviously he thinks he's worth more than that, or he doesn't see. Or he doesn't see that the Tigers can win a premiership in the next 5 years. So a really interesting one there. But we'll crack on to. We'll do a quick wind up of our team. We only scored 880 on the weekend, sitting 13,000th overall. So we did take a bit of a back step from round 12, but that's okay. We keep pushing forward, and we'll make some pretty big trades this week, I'd say, to get some guns in.
100%. I think that. Look, Wong had his worst game of the season with 32, and then Seyfarth really didn't set the world on fire with
Ponga,
28.
Tamale, Jenkins, Toya.
Exactly right. Then we had, some average performances from some other players, but it was good cash gen, like we touched on in our summary for, guys like Lachlan Hubner, Jackson Purdue, Dylan Egan as well, a terrific game from Dylan Egan, and good to see that he's been named as well.
Yeah.
And look, Wong, Olakau'atu, Ponga, Jenkins, Tamale, Toya, hopefully they can all bounce back this week, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Let's kick on straight to a bit of a TLT wrap-up for this week. Sea Eagles, Dragons first round. The big news last week is that Dylan Egan was an absolute purchase. He went up about 80K over the weekend. So he has been listed to start on the bench here, but I really think that Flanagan isn't really fooling anyone, and he will start on the edge, I'd say.
Yeah, I think he could definitely, they could do the same thing as last week with Leilua pushing back to the bench and Egan starting. Look, what are we, round 7 now? This is the lowest break even I've seen. For the season, minus 21.
That's a serious purchase if you're not.
If you do not have Dylan Egan, look, there is some serious gains to be made there.
He's almost a must-have.
100%. But yeah, he's also not even just a really good fantasy player, but he's also, really catches the eye. He's a really good player, really gets into it. So Dragons got a good one in Dylan Egan. But apart from that, I think it's only just Tui Pilotu is out. With that hamstring strain for the Dragons. And I know a lot of people were thinking hopefully Sione Fainu was going to come in. He played quite well in the preseason games, but unfortunately it's Matt Feeney that comes in on the wing there. So
yeah, I've noticed that this week you do get 3 fantasy trades. So they have bumped that up from 2 to 3 this week. So make sure to use all them if you have, or save them because, those trades are valuable.
Juicy trades.
Yeah. for the Eagles, Jason Saab returns on the wing for Laulo, and that's pretty much it because, you know what, the Sea Eagles aren't really fantasy relevant this year at all unless you got Ruben Garrick or Olakau'atu, who probably have been underperforming this year.
Garrick's been pretty good. Olakau'atu's been a bit inconsistent, but look, we back him to bounce back at Four Pines on Thursday night.
Doggies, Rabbitohs, and Matty Burton returns after missing 3 games with a knee injury, which is a big boost for the Dogs, who are still undefeated. Kick-out as a part of the extended squad. Bailey Hayward goes back to the bench, and Tupanua returns from suspension. So plenty going on there for the Doggies. And for the Rabbitohs, skipper Cody Walker returns after a hamstring injury. So that's an early return for him, pushing Latrell's still in the halves, actually, with... Is that right? Yeah, Latrell's still in the halves with Cody Walker.
Yeah, Lewis Dodd's been named on the bench, so that's an interesting one.
And Campbell Graham is back, returning on the wing in place of the injured Alex Johnson. So there's another one that is always a sleepy buy. Jaden Sullivan is serving a 1-game suspension, and Joshy Schuster has been listed among the reserves, which is interesting.
Yeah. Returned in New South Wales Cup. Had a couple of really good moments, but I think he'll have a couple more weeks in New South Wales Cup before potentially he might get a sniff for the in the NRL team. And with the Doggies, like you said, big inclusion with Matty Burton coming back this week, and potentially maybe Kickow as well. But seeming with Kickow being named on the extended bench, brother, it really looks like the Dogs are probably going to give him another week. And Jack Todd basically benefits from the injury to Harry Hayes at training last week. I think it's syndesmosis injury for Hayes, so he'll be out for I think a couple of weeks, only a low grade one. So that's really it for that game.
Yeah, good news. Well, the big news is that the Storm absolutely smashed the Wires last week, and Pappenhausen and Hughes probably. Pappenhausen was all right, but Hughes really fronted up and took that bad score when he went off at halftime. But he has been named to start this week, which is great for those owners that have him and want to bring him in, because he's getting slightly cheaper, is Hughes, and he's always a buy. They play the Dolphins this week, so it could be anything here. You'd expect the Storm to thrash him. So is Pappenhausen a buy? Is Munster a buy?
They're all those 3 options. They're solid options. Eli Katoa as well. We touched on him last week. Harry Grant's starting to come into form. But whether you want to buy him just before, Origin's coming up soon, so you might want to wait till after that. Completely up to you. But a few headaches there. The only real change is it looks like Moses Leo he's been pretty good.
Yeah, Farlongo comes back in the wing.
Weeks, and Sua is coming in for his first game of NRL this season, so that will be interesting. That could really be anything from Sua and Pappenhausen there carving up. But so that should be a really good performance, and really good if you purchased Hughes last week that he's been named to play. They said at the start of the week he was 50-50, but then he had the scans, and the scans really didn't show much. So all good to go.
Only got 16 points on the weekend, did go off at halftime, 30-point average, 4.4%, 641K. He's turning into pod territory, and I really like the pickup, to be honest. Doesn't play Origin. He plays that first bye round. I think it's a great option. Yeah,
if you want to go a bit early, because he'll have a higher break even this week. But look, great opposition against the Finns. I don't hate it at all, Cord. Even like those other players you mentioned, the likes of Pappenhausen, etc. They're all still really good options, brother. So I think that look, the Storm have been playing really well. They've started really well in the first halves, and then that second half they sort of just take the foot off the afterburners. Give guys like Coates an early rest. Tell Hughes he's don't need to come back on, mate. We're up 36-0 or something like that. We don't need you to come back. So. Yeah, look, all things are going well for the Storm going from last week.
Yeah, no changes for the Dolphins either. So they run out to 17, save 17. That beat Penrith, who are really struggling, obviously, this year, have not yet won in Australia. So a big one to watch, that one this weekend when we get to them.
The Hammer was great, Cord. He's really, Hammer's back. He's been really good the last couple of weeks. Look, Herbie's also a gun if you want a gun centre. Herbie's the man. And then Maxi Plath, he's been going pretty solid as well. How did Gilbert go last week? Because didn't he go off with went off with a HIA. I was trying my best to keep up.
36. Yeah, no good.
Yeah, Plath got 50, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But that's not the worst from Gilbert, but
No.
probably close to a sell if you haven't done so already. But on to the next game, Cord.
Yeah, whilst Broncos, one change for the Broncos. Jordan Reki's back, which means he replaces Jack Gosquetsky, who is serving a one-game ban. He's now a sell Jackie Goss, so you can get rid of him for maybe
yes.
Dylan Egan if you haven't got him in yet,
100%.
or someone else who's cheap, Savala. The Roosters half might be a buy this week, but he's playing Penrith, so it might be an interesting one. But for the Warriors, James Fisher-Harris is out, which means Jackson Ford will get in the front row. Jacob Laban on the bench. Chance Nickel-Clockstad has entered the concussion protocol, so to a peaky moose, number one. Plenty going on there, but nothing really fantasy relevant for the Waz.
Apart from maybe Halasima, but the only real thing about that is I just don't see it. Like, he'll be back to the bench next week because Kate Will's only really coming into centre because of the other positions with C&K being out. So yeah, Tamari Martin having his first game of the season on the bench will be good to see as well, brother. But yeah, with the Broncos, look, not really much to report on. Smoothie's also come onto the bench as well, so that will be interesting to see how the Broncos utilise him, and then also I said today, Jesse Arthurs, the Broncos got his Category 1 concussion downgraded to a Category 2. So he's all good to go this week.
Panthers, Roosters, another blockbuster game. Can the Penrith Panthers get their season up and running? It would be great to see. Cleary keeps going well. He's probably the cheapest he'll be this year, so it's probably the week to buy Cleary if you haven't got him already. Candy returns. Garner is now in the centres with McLean. And Jenkins keeps his wing spot, which is good because he keeps turning out money and good scores despite this week's 27 that he got. But
it was a howler.
It was a howler. Jack Cole has been listed among the reserves, so he could potentially, if you held him, return to maybe to the side next week, considering how he goes with his injury. But that is one to see. Marky Mark is back for the Roosters, and that's pretty much it for that one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there because, yes, Marky Mark's back. But the issue is Billy Smith's been playing very well.
Could be Toya,
so we don't really know. Marky Mark really needs to have a good game. So does Toya, because one of them's probably going to be replaced by Billy Smith when he comes back from suspension.
Hopefully Wong can turn it around this week.
I think Wong will turn it around. The same with Nafu White, if you've still got Nafu White. If you wanted to sell Nafu White, for example, don't... it's not the worst, especially for a man I'll touch on when he comes up.
Yeah.
But look, Hugo Savala's still got a pretty high break even. He did smash out a nice 33, really good kicking game. But yeah, there's no need to really rush out to get him with that, 50 plus break even. Can wait at least another week before you go picking him up. He looks like he's going to keep the spot there. And with Penrith, look how Isaiah Yeo Cord.
Yeah, he's been special, hasn't he?
He's been really special. And yeah, look, it's good to see they gave Blaze another week. Thereafter, he had a pretty average or interesting game. Last Thursday night or Friday night. Was it the first? No, it was Thursday night. Yeah. Pardon me, sorry. So yeah, Garner in the centres is certainly interesting. But we'll see how it goes. He's done a job normally, but we'll move on to the first game on Sunday.
Yeah, Tino's back for the Titans. Jojo Fafita and Isaac Fusulamalawi is also back on deck. Sami slides in the centres, which means Bo Firma goes back to the back row.
Let's hope he can stay there.
I know, we want him to stay there.
The last 2 weeks, he's been both times. I thought last week he was going to be good with Jojo Fafita coming back. But then Jojo Fafita again got ruled out. So Firma's scores, I think he's got 20 and 30. So I'd be monitoring that situation, not getting in Firma in this week.
Yeah.
But definitely Cord. He's one to look at once he gets back. So if he can continue to stay at the back row position for the next couple of weeks, potentially in a couple of weeks, he could be a really big buy in the center spot. But before I go, I've been waiting for this moment all year. Fafita is finally starting. He is absolutely smashed out a 92, I think it was last week.
Yeah, he's actually a buy.
He is the biggest. He is the biggest buy, potentially, one of the biggest buys of the season. Look, he is bottomed out 92. He's got a break even of 22 this week. It's nearly Operation Blow Up Everything to get Fafita in because it looks like that Des has really seen that performance. He was unbelievable against the Dragons, ran for over 200 metres. So I think, Cleese Haas is back to the bench. I think that's definitely what everyone has wanted to see. Haas has been named. They've got the centres back. Firma's not being named in the centre, so then Fafita starting. They're both there in the second row, how it should be. So, get on Fafita, brother.
Well, there's one person that you could probably sell, and that might be Matty Nicholson because Zach Hosking's back on deck for the Raiders. So it'll be interesting to see that sort of rotation and whether you want to maybe potentially move him on now before Zach Hosking potentially takes that spot back. So
that's a good one. Or they could even utilize one of those guys in the middle as well, like as a lock. So it'll be interesting. Look, I'm not going to, as I said to you before, I'm not going to say no to someone if they wanted to trade Nicholson to Fafita. But at the same time, I'd rather you do someone else because there's a real chance that all those three guys could play good minutes. And Nicholson's been going quite well. But look, again, if you want to get on the Fifi train, I'm not hating you at all.
Now's the time.
Yes, 100%, brother.
Knights, Sharks. Few changes here that are not fantasy relevant whatsoever. Gamble's back. Schiller's back.
Gamble.
Phoenix Crossler moves from halfback to hooker. Frizzell has been named a prop. Like, there's a few fantasy implications here that just we don't care about whatsoever.
Can't. He's still there.
Still there. That's good news for everyone that bought him. For the Sharkies, Fanua Blake has been named, which is great for them, of those owners, and that's pretty much the whole news of that one. So there's some good news there, Cunt and Fanua Blake.
100%. It's great to see Fanua Blake get named. He was rocking the, this is completely off topic, but he was rocking the Crocs post game over in Perth. The Sharkies boys came by me at the start of the Cowboys Rabbitohs game. Fanua Blake was rocking the
old
white
Crockies.
Crocs. But look, great news. He's definitely a really good middle for fantasy and a huge part for the Sharks. The good thing, the only thing I want to touch on, Cord, in regards to the Sharks is just in regards to Hiroti. He's been very good for the Sharks thus far since coming in for Iro. I haven't really heard anything recently in regards to Iro and how long he's away in regards to coming back. So I can't really say go out and buy Hiroti. I think Iro is going to be back pretty soon, and how he started the season, there's no way that he's not coming straight back in. And then in regards to Newcastle, look, the great news is just, that Thomas Kant keeps his spot. There's still no Dylan Lucas named at all.
No.
And Tyson is back. So that's really it, brother. We can move on to the big game, the Easter Monday clash.
Easter Monday clash. Obviously, look, Galvin's been dropped. Adam Dewey into the halves. And I'll give you some stats when Adam Dewey's in the halves.
Oh, it's good.
He averages 60.2. So 484K. He fills that centre's position. Pretty cheap for a 60 average half to throw in your centres there. He could definitely be a buy for me. Naden is back for the Tigers and for the Eels. Mitch Moses has been named to play against his old club, which is a huge news for Parramatta, who are desperate in need for some sort of guidance.
Could you imagine this, Cord? There could be a real world that we live in where the 4-time premiers could be in the wooden spoon spot after 1 week. Like the Eels are going to, that is a huge in from Mitchell Moses coming back. Look, that is terrific news for them. Look, in terms of, like you said, with Adam Dewey, it's like his average at 5'8" is, like you said, or in the halves, is stunning. My only concern, and it's not really a concern because he still does well at centre, but my concern is with Latu Fainu potentially coming back in a couple of weeks, whether Dewey still keeps his the halves jersey or if he goes back to the centres. Obviously, Brent Naden coming back in is huge. So I think that that could benefit, but that is just a little caution in regards to Adam Dewey. Look, Tyrrell May, what were the Roosters thinking? Absolutely unbelievable. He's up to second on the Daily M leaderboard. Just absolutely killing it for the Tigers. Nothing really else fantasy relevant with the Tigers there. With the Eels, look, I wouldn't be rushing out to get Moses this week. First game back. Let's see how he goes. But the one big takeaway I'm taking away, or the biggest takeaway I'm taking from the Eels is I think that Jermaine Hopgood is definitely a sell.
Yeah.
I think he played like 45, 50 minutes on the weekend.
It's hard to see.
He got like 40 points, but for the price point, you're better off getting like someone else. You could go down to like a Dylan Egan and get like a 40 points like off the bench. Look, he could come out and play big minutes, but Katoga's been very good as well, Cord. He's had a couple of good games. Jackie Williams is back as well for Parramatta. So, look, I'm really liking that Parramatta side, and I reckon Naongi should have a better game this weekend as well. But in terms of that, brother, look, it's been one of the more interesting and more exciting TLTs that we've had.
Yeah, there's definitely been a few close calls there that we just don't know what we're going to do for this week. But make sure to like, subscribe, follow the Instagram.
100%.
There'll be a buy, hold, sell coming out this week, of course.
I can tell you now, there's no need to even second guess. Just get in for Feeder. He's the biggest buy. He'll be the number one option for your buys this week.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we'll be back for buy, hold, sell for Wednesday tomorrow. And yeah,
See you there.
See you then.